For my ideological criticism, I found a cartoon that opened the debate over a prevalent question in society today. When is politically correct too much? At what point does an artifact stop being harmless material and become a hated symbol? In this essay, I will argue that the cartoon rhetorically perpetuates the concept that a simple artifact can be demonized simply by attaching its own meaning. I will do this through an ideological criticism of Bronco's use of the canons of rhetoric, specifically invention, disposition, and style, to reveal a deeper national identity struggle. The disposition or placement of Bronco's cartoon is key in his connecting to his audience and creates three bridges: between the past and present, between the familiar and unfamiliar, and between the possible and impossible. A significant portion of his viewers do not relate to the rebel flag on a personal level. It is a retired historical fabric of the past. In contrast, the American flag is a symbol that most every citizen associates with today as part of their identity. The U.S. flag is a prevalent icon not only in our nation, but in the world. By placing both these flags side by side, Bronco portrays them as equals. He awakens the past to frame the failures of today. This also creates a link between what is familiar and foreign to the audience. American culture calls for the ban of the Confederate flag because they are unfamiliar with it, but now the same thing they wish to ban is coupled with their own identity. It increases the context of what they call for. The artifact they so readily rally behind is no different than that they are so quickly ready to crucify. Finally, now that the two flags are made equal, if one is so easily disposed of, what is to say the other cannot be? Because the artist is standing back from the flags, he becomes a disassociated judge that society itself cannot control. What will it take to shift gears and apply new meaning to the symbol of freedom that is the U.S. flag? The cartoon makes the impossible idea that the American flag could become a hated symbol of crime much more a reality. His style is divided into two main focuses, the image and the text. The picture uses color, labels, and exaggeration to create an incongruity in its message. Bronco draws the two presidents in black and white and the artist in color. First, it is important to note that the presidents are black and white, and the ideology in question arises from a problem of bigotry, racism between blacks and whites. Bronco also has both presidents in the same color scheme, not just Davis, thus placing them both on the stand. What sins they have committed are set in stone, and both are on trial. Because the artist is in color, he represents the judge who has the power to condemn, but this is not just any artist. Bronco has him dressed in a military uniform with a ponytail and gruff countenance. He has a communist appearance with PC, or politically correct, written on his beret, giving him a politically correct Nazi feel. Most importantly, his earring is in the Obama campaign symbol. Bronco is suggesting that the Obama administration is a communist tyrant that is rewriting and condemning the country's history. The left attaches the labels to artifacts and construe their meaning. His use of narrative also highlights the idea that history is powerless against the current system. His use of textual irony stands out the most. Bronco applies this when he has Davis tell Lincoln, "Don't laugh, yours is next." Society is screaming for blood and respect to the Confederate flag, and instead of defending his flag or seeming upset, Davis finds humor. By warning Lincoln, Davis stresses to the audience that the irony in banning the Confederate flag, because it sets the precedent for when the same flag they now rally behind will be dismissed. This is further articulated in the size difference between the image and the text. Cartoonists use small text coupled with large images to create an idea that proves the larger character can complete what he has set out to do. In this case, the smaller text proves that the artist will ultimately ban both flags for their sins. Finally, Bronco ties the text and image together with the words at the bottom, "for the sins of its past." If the Confederate flag is banned for something it cannot change, something it evidently cannot even apologize for or move on from, then the American flag could face the same fate. While highlighted in black and white, both flags are sealed in the same past and will be held responsible for their sins. It is only a matter of time before the left strips the American flag of a symbol of freedom and gives it new meaning. American society is teetering on the verge of historical collapse. Regardless of their historical fact, Civil War artifacts are being labeled as racist and banned from society. The racial tension between blacks and whites that drives this crusade is a never-ending war. Bronco's cartoon argues that the direction the nation is taking will set precedent for many of the nation's cherished history and symbols to be redefined and a new identity formed.